Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast. And here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is absolutely incredible to be with you with my good friend Brian. Brian, how we doing today?
John, I'm fantastic, as I always am during the NFL. I'm fantastic all the time, but especially during the NFL season. We've got a whole new slate of games, a chance for redemption for some teams in the Bay Area who might not have played so well last week. Looking forward to getting into it.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking 49ers Chiefs. That's the big meat and potatoes. Plus the NFC West race. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Rams, even though they're not playing. What did we learn about them last week? But also, we got to throw this out there. Episode 700. That is we have been around. All that means is that we hit record consistently. I don't know about the content level. But I want to say thank you to everybody that is out there for all of the continued support. And because it's episode 700, we're giving stuff away. We got an autographed Kyle Juszczyk jersey we're going to be giving away. Get those hashtag CCs in. It's what we do, man. We're going to announce the winner right after the Chiefs game Sunday night. So get those hashtag CCs in there. Clayton, the man behind the scenes, he's processing through those comments. So here we go. Let's dive in. We've got a game tonight. We've got NFC West, and this is what I'm going to call the injured bowl because both of these teams, they missing a lot of key pieces. How are you feeling about the Saints versus the Cardinals matchup for Thursday Night Football?
First, let me revisit Arizona-Seattle last week because I was very confident that the Cardinals could handle the Seahawks, and I could not be more wrong. I continue to think that the Cardinals can at least be somewhat competent on offense, and facing what had been the 31st ranked defense in the NFL, they mustered a whole 9 points. And by the way, the only touchdown in there was not an offensive touchdown. Yeah. So I think that was rock bottom for Arizona. Here's the good news. Yes, there's injuries, but there's one key addition for this Arizona team. And if they can't get it together this week, with DeAndre Hopkins putting out a hype video on social media about his return, he felt it was unfair. We don't have to go into the particulars of that, but he is coming back fully healthy. He's going to get like 27 targets by Kyler Murray. I'm kind of feeling good about Arizona. I probably shouldn't. It'll probably bite me again.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because now the new playbook, anytime somebody gets suspended, as soon as that happens, we're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to show whatever, but we're not going to appeal. And don't worry, you'll hear from us once we figure out whatever. Then you don't hear anything. And now he comes back with that hype video that was, what did he label that? Don't call it a comeback? No, it's called
there's a little thing at the top that said like free hop or, whatever, like free him from what?
Yeah. You did this to yourself, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's back, and I think he plays, I would argue, outside of Kyler Murray, he's the most important player for that team. So to get that back, we'll see. Because whenever he went down last year, that's when they completely fell apart. And obviously they've been bad. They're in dead last. They're 2-4. If they lose this game, can they get out? Can they climb out?
I will say the NFL is wide open, especially in the wild card spots. The NFC in particular. I was doing the Power Ranking show yesterday, and I was looking at the actual NFL playoff picture if the season were to end, and the Jets are in the playoffs. The Colts, who started off near the bottom of the NFL with the losses they had, are in the playoffs. So it's not over for pretty much anyone at this point, short of maybe Carolina or Houston, but it's not looking good. I think the chances of them have any chance of the division are just about out the window, but that doesn't mean they can't pull out a wild card spot. However, the Saints would be one of the teams they're trying to fight for one of those. These are 2-4 teams. Saints, by the way, 2-4, only one game out of the NFC South. This is what I'm talking about, because both the Falcons and the Bucs are 3-3. So it's not a stick a fork in you and you're done game, but man, it's close to that. I'm getting sucked into the fact that The Saints, I think at DVOA, their defense is 18th or 19th. That's not typical of what we've seen in New Orleans. Andy Dalton, we found out a little while ago, is set to get the start again. He doesn't excite anybody. They did run the ball well last week, but Arizona's defense, as bad as their offense played, their defense has actually been getting better each week. I like how this sets up for Arizona. I just feel like DeAndre Hopkins is going to come out all gangbusters. And when Kyler, you mentioned it, John, when he's been in the lineup and healthy, this Cardinals, that's what makes this Cardinals offense run. It's very bad to have an entire offense around one player, but if he's that good and you can't stop him, and I don't think the Saints have Marshawn Lattimore is out. They don't have the guys to stop him. Am I wrong to believe that the Cardinals will win this game and cover the spread?
No, I don't think so. I'm not betting on it, but yeah, I think that's there for sure. Oh, I got to say shout out to this legend. Look at this. Juan Solis, the man. He says, look at us, John. Been with you since 200. It's insane, man.
Wow.
Juan acts one of the most pivotal, important pieces of this 49ers rush team. Just want to say thank you to you, such an amazing human being, and all the YouTube clips, audio clips, video clips, all that stuff. That's all Juan working behind the scenes. Just want to say thank you to him. And so, if we jump back to this game, it's weird because the Cardinals are favored, which makes me feel kind of gross a little bit.
I think I would feel better if they were the underdog and I was picking them to cover.
Yeah, and then you've got a Big Papa. Never bet on the current Cardinals makeup. I can't bet for them or against them.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. The one thing that I'm fine betting on, I'm looking at this over on my bookie. The over-under for DeAndre Hopkins is 65 yards.
Oh.
I am betting the over. I'm doing it right now as we're talking. I always talk about my bookie bets on here, and we'll share the link and stuff a little bit later. But I'm telling you right now, they are going to throw the ball to that guy nonstop because they don't have anybody else. And on top of that, the number one corner, as you said, Marshawn Lattimore is out.
Mm-hmm.
So, the one thing I will take from this game, I'm taking the over on DeAndre Hopkins yards. I'm taking the over on receptions. I'm taking the over. I think that dude's going to have a monster game. He's ready. And so everybody else is wore out. Playing that, Sunday to Saturday game, that's tough. But not him. He's been sitting. Been sitting.
That's what I mean. And it's not like the guy who's coming back off an injury. Maybe he's this is a guy who's completely healthy. He just got suspended for PED. So he's going to come back.
He's more than healthy.
He's going to come back. And Kyler has hyper-targeted him even when there are other options in the pass game. That's how this offense has been the most successful in the past. So I see that happening again. I'm 100% with you. Go the over on all the player props for DeAndre Hopkins. Let's talk a few more key injuries so we can actually be specific. Justin Pugh lost for the season on the Cardinals offensive line, an offensive line that hasn't been that good to begin with. Not a good sign. On the Saints side, they're still without Michael Thomas. Chris Olave is back for this game. That's a plus. Looks like Jarvis Landry is questionable. You mentioned Marshawn Lattimore. They don't have much of a pass game. Their run game was better last week. I don't know if you can count on that every week. It's yet another Thursday night matchup I'm not particularly excited to watch, but I still lean Arizona to win.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, and I just always feel gross pulling for the Saints. I don't like cheering for the Saints. I really, really don't. But that's what I think all the 49ers faithful is going to be doing. We'll see how it goes. I think at some point, Arizona is going to rebound this year. Yeah. I really, really do. Where they're going to win 2 or 3 games in a row. This could be it. I don't know. I love this. Does Modern Warfare 2 coming out impact Kyler's play? I'm just telling you, man. That
I want to see some advanced metrics. I want to see some advanced metrics on because I do think there's something there. There's been a lot of hyperbole and theory around that, and I think it's based on something. But if somebody can do a deep dive into this, I would love to know the metrics, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a correlation there.
All right, I like it. Now, before we jump into the Seahawks-Chargers game, the Rams, they got a bye week this week. They get a rest up, then they got the 49ers next week, which is going to be huge. We're going to be at that game, which I'm super excited about. Let me just throw those up there real quick. 49ers Rush road trip. We've got an awesome party Saturday night. We're going to be at the Fountain in LA. Going to be an incredible, massive party. Now, let me just say this. Our early bird pricing ends right as soon as the 49ers Chief game ends. So it's cheap. It's more than 50% off right now. That price is going to jump up. Our tailgate, super excited. We're going to be in the pink zone, lot P, unlimited drinks, food, and because we're in the RV lot, we get to get in 1 hour before everybody else for the tailgate. So it's going to be an absolute party. And if you can't get game tickets, that's okay. We're going to have TV set up running. You can watch it in the parking lot. A lot of people are going to be staying back if you can't make it to the game. And we're going to party afterwards. 49ers rushroadtrip.com. We are working with 49ers Worldwide SoCal chapter. Shout out to BC, the best chapter president in the land. So come party with us next week in LA.
Added bonus to that, my birthday is Saturday, so you guys going to party with John in LA, have an extra drink for me.
There we go. That's it. They're going to be flowing. They're going to be flowing. So jump into the Rams last week, that Carolina game. It was so weird. The whole game was weird.
It was yet another Stafford pick six. You can almost count on one of those a game at this point. But at the end of the day, it played out exactly as we thought. LA rebounded. A few interesting notes on the Rams side. They played under center more. Stafford was in shotgun less. They committed a little bit more to the run game, whether that's with Cam Akers out. They had a little bit more stability from a personality standpoint in the running back room. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was just McVay saying, hey, let's just keep things simple. Let's not overthink it. Carolina doesn't have the firepower to keep up with us, but they did commit to the run. They had over 100 rush yards. Darrell Henderson got in the end zone. Ben Skoranek got in the end zone on a rush. So they got a few exotic rushes there. It's still the Panthers. There's not a whole lot to take away. It basically played out exactly like you and I both predicted, John, that this was just a good layup for LA going into their bye week. So I don't know that we can necessarily pull a lot back. Obviously, the big game is after that versus San Francisco. That's where we're really going to dive in, see if the Rams are able to bounce back or if the Niners can continue to widen their lead in the division.
Yeah, I mean, if they win this game versus the Chiefs, which we'll hold back on that, but they could start to distance themselves with really just a 2-game winning streak. 49ers could create a giant cushion. Now, that's a tough ask going against the Chiefs, then on the road against the Rams. Not easy. But, yeah, it's weird. I walk away from the Rams every time I watch them just kind of shaking my head.
Uninspired.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Now, I'm pretty sure they're going to go after somebody in this trading deadline and land some big name just because they always push their chips in. But I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll just have to see how that goes.
Still doesn't fix their biggest problem. They lost Joe Noteboom to injury. It's like they could an offensive line that was already with the loss with Whitworth retiring and other losses along the offensive line, and then they had injuries, and then they lose their new left tackle starter. That I don't care if you get OBJ back. I don't care if you bring on Christian McCaffrey. If you cannot protect for these guys, Stafford has shown to be a different quarterback when he's under that kind of pressure. It's night and day, Stafford when he's protected versus Stafford when he's under pressure. That's going to be an issue no matter what kind of big signings they have. So unless they find a way to do what they did against Carolina, against other opponents, which is control the clock, keep the game simple for Stafford, run some play action, rely on that running game to control the time of possession. If they can't do that, it really doesn't matter who they sign. They're still going to have problems all year long.
I like it. Now, real quick, before we jump into the rest of the games, real quick word from my bookie. You guys know what it is. It is winning season at my bookie. As always, if you want to enjoy the football games, 49ers, or just NFL, or really any sport in general, you can bet on anything over there. MyBookie.ag. We've been with them for years. Very trusted site. Get your money in, get your money out easily. And on top of that, all season, double deposit bonus. Whenever you first deposit your money, let's say you deposit $250, you get $500 credited to your account if you just use our promo code 49ERS or scan this QR code right to the side of me if you're watching this on YouTube. And again, it just sets you up completely. My bookie is incredible. Bet with us. We're on Patreon. We share our bets every single week, all season long. So join us, mybookie.ag, promo code 49ers. Bet anytime, anywhere with my bookie. All right. Now, Brian, let's jump into our next one. Let's talk some Seahawks because maybe the most surprising team, which is weird to say about a 3-3 team, but the fact that they are at that record's a crazy overachievement, is it not?
Absolutely. There's been a number of surprises, but the biggest surprise has been their rookie class. You talk about Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant, we mentioned in the preseason, both of their rookie tackles, Kenneth Walker now showing that he's ready to take on that RB1 role. This is already maybe with the Jets leaning as maybe the best draft class in 2022. You have to hand it to John Schneider and Pete Carroll for putting this class together, because that has been the difference. You and I talked about in the offseason that Seattle was lacking replacements for the big-time players they lost. Now, we can talk about, was Russell Wilson really a loss? Whatever, but it seemed like a huge loss in the offseason. They did lose Bobby Wagner, and they didn't really seem to replace it, but when you get Geno Smith playing better than he's ever played in his entire career by far, just working really well in the Shane Waldron offense, you get these rookie contributors who are starters and actually contributing significantly from the start, your team is going to look better than we expected. Say what you want about Carroll, he's still a good football coach. He's he's in the Tomlin and the Vrabels, these guys that they will find ways to at least have their teams be competitive. And they won with a different way last week. I want to note this. They had been winning because, surprisingly, their offense was actually top 10 to 12 most weeks, but their defense was 31-32. Well, they held the Cardinals to 9 total points, and one of those touchdowns was a defensive touchdown. So their defense, but their offense wasn't as good. Geno wasn't as good last week, but their defense won the game for them. If they can find a way to put it together, I don't think they're making a run at this division. Let's not get crazy there, but it could be well enough coached to maybe at least have a run at one of these number 7 wildcard spots come December, January.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. We went into this thinking, the NFL is incredible because the parity and all those things. I really thought that the Seahawks were one of the worst teams in the NFL. Now, I'm not sure if they're closer to being just an average team or if they're a bad team, but what they're doing is allowing teams to lose it. Like, they're basically just saying, hey, we're just going to stay in this game. You make a mistake, we win the game. Like, that's just kind of what they're doing, and it's working. But at I don't know. They're 1-1 in the division, which is interesting. 49ers are going to travel there later on a Thursday night matchup. We'll be there for the 49ers Rush road trip. Like, that could be a deciding factor because I think the Seahawks are a bigger issue in the NFC West than the Rams are. And that's just weird.
That's crazy. And you're not out of left field on that, though. This team is playing steady. One thing we can say, even in his past about Geno Smith, is he has always been a quarterback who's taken care of the football. His issue was always he held the ball too long. He wasn't willing to take too many risks. He was almost too conservative. But in this Shane Waldron, Pete Carroll offense where they want to control the time of possession, where they want to rely primarily on the run game, and they need a quarterback who's just going to find playmakers and not make too many crazy, not pull a Stafford, not be a guy who you can rely on for a couple interceptions a game. And it has worked so much better than we thought it would. What that means after 6 weeks is I think this personality of the Seahawks is here to stay. I think you're going to see, I think they're an average team, John. I don't think they're a bad team. I still think they have room to grow. They do have a lot of rookies, but I think you could see them finishing anywhere between 7-10 to 8-9 in that range. But what that means is they're going to be competitive, especially in division games. So when the Niners have to play them again, I don't think you're going to blow them out the way you did earlier in the season. You're going to have to keep in mind that that's going to be a tough matchup. Speaking about this game coming up, the Chargers, I have not been that impressed. I was really high on LA preseason, and it's not a roster thing.
Both.
There's 2 factors here. One, they are suffering from a lot of injuries. You lost Joey Bosa. J.C. Jackson has not been as advertised. We were touting what a great signing that was. You lost Rashawn Slater, who is a future All-Pro at left tackle early in the year. You do have some of these injury issues, but here's the thing. We've started to hear very, very small grumbles about Brandon Staley as a coach. And that his defense is what he's known for. This defense has not been special. They have a lot of talent. You now have Khalil Mack. You still have Derwin James, who's staying healthy. How are you not shutting teams down more? They've been able to be run on. They have not been able to make key plays on defense. They're still finding ways to win, but they're not blowing teams out. They should have beat the Browns by more than 2, yet they eked that out. They should have beat the Broncos by more than 3. Justin Herbert didn't have a single passing touchdown. So you have to start to question the coaching. And if that's all you're using going into this game, suddenly 6.5 points seems a little crazy on the Chargers side, in my opinion.
I think it is way too much. I wanted to do a teaser bet with the Seahawks, get the +6, +7, but at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if the Chargers, they should be able to handle business against the Seahawks. But yeah, I don't believe in the reliability of the Chargers, and I don't believe in the mistakes of the Seahawks, if that makes sense. So I'm just staying away from this game. I don't like it betting wise. I don't want my money anywhere around it. I got close to going in on the Seahawks, but I'm just staying away. And I don't know, man. This is one of those games where this could be anything. It could be a 31-21 game. It could be a 14-13 game. Like,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't feel like I have a pulse on either team.
Yeah, the Seahawks, that's one of the things is they've been inconsistent because they had been winning games on offense, and last week they won it on defense. Now, does that mean that their young players on defense are finally really getting the flow for the NFL game, and suddenly they're able to make some noise? Possibly. If that's the case, this team is going to be much better. Was the offense just on a high to start, and all of a sudden it came down to earth? We don't know. We haven't gotten a firm grasp. But what I do know, when we go down to that, it's going to come down to two things: quarterback play and coaching.
Yep.
Coaching is a huge advantage on the Seattle side. We have to say that. Big time.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. Now, anything else on the Seahawks-Chargers game, or does that wrap it up for you?
Well, I'm going to say, I didn't say this yet. I clearly like Seattle to cover this. They are one of my 4 upset picks. I don't love it, but I feel it. I don't believe in this Chargers team to win a gritty game. I have a feeling this will be a gritty game. I have a feeling it will be one of those low-scoring games that you mentioned, John. I could see Seattle controlling the clock, Geno just being efficient, Kenneth Walker making some plays against this very susceptible Chargers run defense. The matchups here set up very well to be in Seattle's corner, and when that comes down, when that close game, then it comes down to coaching, time management, game time decisions, and I'm going to give Pete Carroll the edge. So one of my 4 upsets that I'm picking this week is Seattle to win this game.
Ooh, I like it. Spicy. Now, before we jump to our final game, most important game this week, we do have another giveaway. Want to say shout out on Instagram to @CustomGeneJacks. So Custom Gene Jacks, if you haven't yet, they are absolutely incredible. I got a party with Kelly and her husband in Chicago. They came to the Rush Road trip, and she makes these custom jean jackets. They're Levi's, of course, and we're giving one away Monday. So all you got to do is head over to our Instagram @49ers Rush Podcast. You'll see the reel that I posted there. Just tag some people, and that gets you an entry into that competition. So our Instagram has been popping lately. Shout out to Eric M. He has been crushing it. So if you want a chance to win one of these, or if you just want to buy one, go check it out @CustomGeneJacks. That's Custom Gene JAX on Instagram. Absolutely incredible work. Everything's custom.
Really cool, by the way.
Yeah,
those are serious. I like that.
She's awesome. So just want to support her business. They don't pay us for any of this. I believe in what they do. So anyway, go check that out. There we go. Dancing. She sees it, says, "Oh, I need that jacket. It is fire." And she's got a bunch of custom ones, so you can kind of pick exactly how you want it tailored and all those things. So here we go. This is what it's about now, baby. 49ers Chiefs. How is this not a primetime game, Brian?
Yeah, the whole primetime. You try to make these predictions ahead of time, the schedule makers, but they have gotten it wrong so many times to start the season, forgetting just how much we have to see the Broncos. How could you not have pinned this game, especially because you thought Trey Lance was going to be the quarterback. Lance against Mahomes, it would have been a great matchup. So the fact that they put it on primetime, I'm not sure. I do want to quickly visit last week. I did kind of predict how that game would play out.
Oh, you predicted it. Yeah. No, you nailed it.
Yeah, it didn't... as not indicative of the rest of the season, it was not the impact of that game. John, you and I both said that doesn't really play a huge part going forward, but this game is going to play out a little different. I do think this game will be close. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think at the end, though, I like KC's talent. What I have is a top 3 team. I think if the 49ers were fully healthy, it would be a much more difficult call. But Bosa is leaning towards coming back, but you're still... John, I don't know how Travarius Ward is looking. I know he got injured early in the game. Obviously, Mosley's lost for the season. Trent Williams is back practicing again. That will be a huge get if he plays. But he's
got to play.
That's good. That is big. But the biggest way that the Chiefs get defensive or pressure on the quarterback is Chris Jones up the middle. Trent Williams can't help with that. So I just feel like this is a good matchup for KC. I think that the Niners defense will play well enough to keep this close. I've got their spread at 2.5. I could see this being a 3 or 4 point victory, but I do have Kansas City ultimately pulling it off. I just think they're playing really well on both sides of the wall, and Patrick Mahomes is still one of the best players in the entire National Football League.
Yeah, he's crazy good. Their defense is bad, But the problem is the matchups. Now,
Yeah.
I'm staying away from this spread. I don't like it at all. If the 49ers got more points, maybe can they win this game? 100%. It's the 49ers got to get out of their own damn way. Fumbled rush attempt by Jeff Wilson, return for a touchdown. You've got block kicks for return for touchdowns. You've got multiple interceptions. Like, you're not going to win. I don't care who you're playing. If you force 0 turnovers and give up 3 turnovers like you did against the Falcons, you're going to lose that game. You do that crap against the Chiefs, it's going to be bad. But
here's I'm sorry, John. I was just going to say, with that comment about the Chiefs defense being poop, the biggest vulnerability for the Chiefs defense is the secondary. They're actually fairly decent against the run. And in order for the Niners to really be in a position, I think, to win this game, they need to control the clock. They need to establish that run game. Jimmy G is not built to throw 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, which is how the Bills did it last week, right? Josh Allen just outdueled Mahomes, and those corners can't really keep up. This team isn't really built like that. So that's why I say it's a matchup thing. It'll be close because I think the Niners are talented enough and the defense is good enough to keep it close. I don't think the 49ers offense can score enough points to ultimately beat this Chiefs team at this point in the season.
I have the Chiefs as the top 2 team in the NFL. You said top 3.
I got the Eagles and Bills ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Eagles are undefeated. As long as they're undefeated, I'm keeping them 1 to my power rankings.
Yeah. I no problems with that. David asked this: any word on Bosa and Huff this weekend? Yes, they both practiced today, which is huge. Huff was in practice. He's still in concussion protocol, but if he's already where he is now, in pads, probably going to be playing for a Sunday late game. Bosa 100% expect to play. Trent Williams 100% expect to play. Now, I don't think Charvarius Ward, who is still out today, this is former team. And, you brought up J.C. Jackson, and I thought it was interesting. All 49ers fans wanted to suspend out the wazoo to get J.C. Jackson. Instead, the 49ers went with a cheaper deal, landed Mooney Ward, and there is no doubt Mooney Ward has beyond outplayed J.C. Jackson so far this year. So
not even close.
Shout out to the 49ers for just an absolute perfect free agency signing. Juan, he says, let Drake hunt versus Kansas City. Jimmy has thrown for 300 plus, though. It's possible he can't throw for 300 plus.
You don't want to rely on that, though. Sure. But if that's what you're banking on, it's not a good start. Hey, this is absolutely a winnable game for the 49ers. This is not a game that I have a high confidence level on. If you guys follow me on Twitter, you know that I put confidence levels next to my pick. I am confident that KC will win, but this is not a slam dunk. The 49ers absolutely can win this game if they're able to control the clock, if they're able to force a turnover or two. Mahomes is not turnover proof. He lost the game last week because he threw an interception under pressure. So if you do some of that, yes, you can absolutely win this game. It's more just we have to base it on the matchups that we see. Slight edge to KC.
Yeah. Aaron says he doesn't like it when the man predicts the loss.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, it's what it is. Perk, I'm with you. Mooney worth every single cent. We got him on a value deal, which is awesome. So, but man, I'm excited about this week because I feel like it's a little bit of a litmus test week. If the 49ers lose this game in a close fashion, I don't think we really learn anything about them. But if they go out and actually compete and win this game or lose by a lot, we're going to figure out a lot about this team. And I think the rest could be said for the Seahawks or the Cardinals. You're going to learn about the NFC West this week. So we'll see how that goes. Brian, what else do you have cooking this week on your show that we could tune into?
Always the same. We go up 5 days a week, different times. Later today, now here's something that's fun that we started last week and it went really well. Our double header on Thursday, meaning it's not 30 minutes of football, it's an hour of football. And basically what we do is just take live viewer questions. We tried it last week. We've got Pro Football Demon from TikTok who joins me every Thursday. We still didn't get to enough questions. We had an hour's worth of live questions and we didn't get to them all. Mainly fantasy questions, but hop on the show. It's at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Ask us your NFL questions. Ask us your fantasy questions. We'll try to get to them all. We have a really quick Thursday night preview in there, but really the people there to ask questions. And then Friday, you guys know I do my game picks. If you want to watch and hear more about who I'm picking, why I'm picking against the spread and straight up money line, Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Check out the Game Picks episode. We're out now doing player props on that episode too. We have a betting analyst who joins us on Fridays.
Ooh, I like it. Want to say thank you to Clayton, the man behind the scenes, keeping everything running fresh. Also, I'm just going to put this out there. I didn't even ask Clayton. we were in the works of possibly starting another podcast, which I'm not going to be a part of this one necessarily behind the mic, but maybe a Warriors Rush podcast. People tried to talk Clayton into go that. He's a bigger basketball guy than I am, but we want to get all the Bay Area sports covered. So I'm trying to put a little more pressure on Clayton. Not that he needs it. So anyway, stay tuned for that. Warriors Rush podcast maybe in the makings soon, which would be incredible. Thank you to our executive producers behind the scenes, Kilted Niner, 49er George 365. Also on Patreon, we just loaded our scouting report on the Chiefs. We also had a bonus episode this morning with 49ers Cutback Crew. That's there if you want to go check that out. Patreon.com/49ers Rush Podcast. And until next time, that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Brian. First off, you're the best there is, man. Appreciate you every week showing up.
I love it.
Tennis practice or not, ready to go.
I'm
ready to go. All right. Till next time. Stay strong, faithful.